gentlemen, yes, this is your favorite show, Sports Unfolded, with your favorite hosts, Eric and Ron.
Hey, welcome to Sports Unfolded, Season 3, Episode 7, 7-card stud. I like it. A lot going on there. I am your host, Eric. My main man right over there, Ron. How are you?
I'm just still in shock over what has transpired this entire week.
It's been a wild week, my friend. That is for sure. It is, as usual, one of those weeks where we just can't probably fit it all in one show, but we're going to try. And we're going to start off with our leadoff story, and that was Super Bowl 57 that was played this past Sunday with the Kansas City Chiefs.
It feels like it was ages ago.
Right? It already does, like the NFL season. Crazy. Kansas City winning 38-35 over the Philadelphia Eagles. Your thoughts on the game?
Well, I'm glad it was a good game, to be honest with you. It was a very close game, and I'm glad to see that. I would have been much more happier if he missed that field goal attempt, because I'm one of those people that absolutely despises the going down before the touchdown so you can kill the clock. I just think that's stupid. I would only do that for only a few quarterbacks in history, let alone in that game in particular.
I despise the call at the end of the game with a minute 30 left when the officials throwing a flag on a hold that clearly, I mean, it was a hold. I'm not going to sit back and say it was not a hold. What I will say is this: at that point of the game, I don't think it impeded the wide receiver from getting.
It didn't do anything.
So why make that call? Why put it basically out of reach for the Philadelphia Eagles?
And it was called after the fact.
Yeah, it was a bad call, man. It was a bad call. I don't like it. I don't understand it. I think ultimately it affected some of your thoughts on the game itself. I would have liked to see Philadelphia have a shot to go down the field and actually either try to tie it with a field goal or win it with a touchdown. That wasn't going to happen based on that call. And it just bothers me that the officials felt like it was the right time based on the fact they had only thrown 8 flags in that game.
Yeah.
And they were letting a lot of stuff go. So it was...
it was just the timing of it.
Yeah, exactly.
And, for something that was not a penalty throughout the entire game, all of a sudden it's a penalty and,
Yeah. I mean, you also got to look at the fact, though, we've got to give credit to Kansas City's offensive line. So Philadelphia being the number 1 sack team in the league gave up no sacks in the Super Bowl.
Right.
They protected Patrick Mahomes. So you could sit back. There's reasons why Philly lost. That call didn't help, but there were other reasons. Kansas City outrushed Philadelphia 158-115. And when you look at the fact that Philadelphia dominated time of possession, 35-47 to 24-13. They were better on third downs, 11 of 18. So from a statistical standpoint, Philadelphia played a better game.
Yeah.
But they didn't do the things that got them to that point, and pressuring the quarterback was one of the big ones. Getting to Mahomes was obsolete in this game.
Look, and I'm gonna pinpoint a play in particular. When we say you don't do the particular things needed to win a Super Bowl, and this is why I say that fumble by Hurts was hurtful, to be honest with you, because that was a really bad fumble. He just basically dropped the ball. It really wasn't, from being hit. He just dropped the ball. And, And that's why I say, why go down, on the 1 or 2 yard line to not get that touchdown with a minute 25 left?
Because they kill the clock. They give him 8 seconds.
Right. But you're taking a chance on one, missing the field goal, two, missing a field goal with a kicker that has already missed a field goal in that game.
I
I
get where you're coming from, but again, even if he missed it there, then they go to overtime.
But
so,
when you
but
that's why I say score that touchdown. The other team has a minute 25 to come down the field and score a touchdown. And what's the worst that can happen? It'll be a tie and go into overtime. So I take the touchdown because that's not Tom Brady on the other side of the field and knowing that he's going to give them an opportunity. This is Jalen Hurts, a young quarterback that hasn't been in this kind of a position before and therefore might not have the ability to bring them down in a minute 25, especially after a costly fumble. I'm just saying I would take my chances with that touchdown instead of rolling the dice and hoping that your kicker doesn't miss again.
But I also say Jalen Hurts definitely outperformed Patrick Mahomes in that game and very capable of getting them down the field.
Until crunch time.
Dude, he had 8 seconds.
I'm just saying.
8 seconds. What are you doing?
Just saying.
No, I think the officials making that call at that point definitely was a deciding factor, which you never want to end a Super Bowl on an official being the reason. And I think that's where we got to. So to your point, look, it's a legal play. That's every team would do it. Don't score. Let the clock run out. But it was because of the officials' call. It wasn't because Kansas City had picked up a first down.
I understand that.
And then did it. At least then I would have said, okay, great play. But so I wanted to ask a couple questions before we move on. First question would be a lot of comparisons right now to Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady.
No.
Okay. We're throwing it out there.
I don't want to hear those comparisons because it's ludicrous. It's ludicrous. Nobody was comparing Tom Brady to Joe Montana after he won his second Super Bowl. That was not happening, right? So let's not do that. Mahomes hasn't even approached, the fact that he's gotten to 3. Let's compare him to those quarterbacks right now that have 2. Peyton Manning, Eli Manning. Let's compare him to those 2 guys, right?
John Elway.
Right, John Elway. The whole cast of characters that have 2. And then maybe you can say, okay, well, we can start talking about those with 3. But you haven't even gotten to the point where you're Joe Montana yet, or Terry Bradshaw.
Yeah, and I would say this:
you're not. When you go to 7 of them, let us know. Let us know. Then we'll start talking.
Well, 10. Tom went to 10.
I know, but he won 7.
7, and so. And I will say this: Patrick already lost 1.
Yep.
To Tom.
Yep.
Which is ironic in this whole situation. But I would also say this as well. I mean, statistically, if you look at where he's at, where Tom was, he's ahead of him. He's ahead of him. Absolutely. The difference would be his longevity. Tom Brady did this for 23 years. Let's pump the brakes a little bit on Patrick Mahomes until we see him in year 15. Where is he at?
He's not Tom. He's not.
Once he loses a Travis Kelce, one of the top tight ends in the game currently. Tom had Gronk. It didn't go as well when he didn't have Gronk. Those things are going to come into fruition.
He didn't have Gronk his whole career. I mean, you're looking at Troy Brown, Deion Branch, David Givens.
Yeah, no, I hear that part of it. And okay, so we're both on pretty much the same page. We're not going to do this with Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes.
Nope.
What about Jalen Hurts? Is he a top quarterback now, and should he be paid as such? It's a tough question.
It is a tough question.
Where they're at right now, Philadelphia, if you don't pay him, you're probably in a better position to pick up some more players and continue this run next season. But you're also jeopardizing the fact that he may want to walk or do something else afterwards.
Well, I think they have bigger problems, don't they? Like it has nothing to do with the roster. It has the
offensive
fact
and
that
defensive coordinator.
they lost their offense and defensive coordinators, and we know what happens when that happens in New
Yeah.
England.
Yes.
I would not expect them back into the Super Bowl next year. Like if they would have lost one, then I said, all right, well, let's see what happens now, right? But now you lost both,
Yeah.
and
It's
I don't know if you come back from that.
be a very tough fill. Very tough fill. So the final question, Ron. Eric Bieniemy looks like he's going to be the offensive coordinator for the Washington Commanders. He's going to leave the Chiefs, basically to get out of the shadows of Andy Reid and try to get himself established to try to get a head coaching position. Is this the right move for Eric Bieniemy?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because I mean, when you think about it, this is a lot of the same things that we saw in New England, right? It's a lot of the same things. When the coaches did leave for head coaching positions, it didn't go so well.
Yeah.
So there is something wrong with that system, but when they leave to take other coaching jobs, then they move on to do better things, right?
Possibly. What I would say is this, though. You're leaving Patrick Mahomes for Sam Howell.
I'm
Sam
not
Howell.
saying it's a great team to go to.
So, exactly. So Eric Bieniemy right now is probably putting himself in a worse situation when you look at the fact that if he fails here, which is a good possibility because they don't have the talent Kansas City has,
Right.
it just solidifies why people didn't hire you because they felt like you couldn't do it.
Well, maybe
And it's more
pretty
Patrick
confident.
Mahomes, Andrew Reid.
He's got to be pretty confident that he can do something.
He better be
And
pretty
I'll tell you,
confident because
if he does succeed and makes this team, even a tad bit better this coming season, that's saying something. Because I mean, look at that roster.
yeah, exactly.
That's not Kansas City.
It is going to be an interesting
I don't think we're
situation
in Kansas
for him.
anymore.
Yeah, click your heels 3 times, Eric Bieniemy, and say, "No, I'll go back to Kansas," because I don't think this is going to work for him.
Yeah, well,
And
I mean, it could. If it does, then he looks like a genius, right?
Yeah. But again, I think if he was going to a team that you could at least say there's some talent there. And I'm not saying Washington has no talent, but they don't have a quarterback.
Well, maybe they
you
will.
need a quarterback. We'll see. Great Super Bowl conversation. I hope everybody out there.
Car ends up.
I hope everybody enjoyed it. It was a good game. I enjoyed the halftime show, even though Kenny, one of our loyal fans, did not. I enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty good. I thought it could have been better, but it wasn't horrible. Commercials maybe left a little bit on the table, though. That to me, they didn't really wow me with any commercials. There wasn't many that I sat back and said, that was a great commercial. So the whole festivity of it, the game itself was probably the better part of everything. Sometimes it's the halftime show, the commercials that you lean on more and not the game. To me, the game was the biggest factor this past Sunday.
Yeah, I would say so.
All right, my friend. Let's get on to some more NFL talk, and we're going to talk about Derek Carr. So this situation now with Derek Carr and the Las Vegas Raiders is finally official. They have released the quarterback. What do you think is a good landing spot for Derek Carr? What should happen?
Well,
and we'll bring him up. Our producer will bring him up in any second.
Washington obviously is a pretty good spot for him. The Jets,
which he's meeting with this weekend. Yep, he's meeting this weekend with the Jets.
I think he might have to wait to hear from Aaron Rodgers before anything. I think that has to be the first piece that gets settled, whether he's coming back to play for Green Bay or coming back to play for somebody else. I think that's what's holding everything up because I think the Jets are going to want to try to make a run at Aaron Rodgers.
So let me ask you that. Knowing Aaron Rodgers and his fragile personality, I guess that's what I'll call it, do you think the Jets would have brought Derek Carr in if they were pretty sure that they could get Aaron Rodgers? Do you think there's conversations that had already been had with Aaron Rodgers, and again, him being probably on the fence. It would be interesting to see if that's why Derek Carr is visiting this weekend,
I
because
think
Aaron Rodgers probably already gave an answer, at least for
I
the Jets. saying
yeah,
he's not going.
I don't know if I don't think the Jets are going to just sit and wait. I think the Jets are looking at it, well, it would be nice to have Aaron Rodgers, but we can't just sit there and wait and have all these quarterbacks go to somebody else and then we're left holding the bag again. I don't think the Jets are going to wait. They're going to try to get one of these guys, and they're going to try to get them now. So they're not going to wait and see if Jackson signs in Baltimore. They're not going to wait and see if Aaron Rodgers is going to retire or come back and play for Green Bay or come back and play for somebody else. They're not going to sit and wait and then be left holding the bag with no quarterback. So, so they're going to go and do what they have to do. They probably have, Aaron Rodgers as their top guy. But I would think that they could probably win with Derek Carr.
Yeah, they
And
got the
that's the way
defense
they're
for
thinking.
it.
Yeah, that's
They got
what they're
offensive
thinking.
talent.
And
It
I
makes
think
sense.
that's their logic in the way they're thinking. And why extend yourself too much for a guy that you don't know if you're going to land?
Yeah, look, to me, I also looked at the Saints have been rumored as a possibility, and I'm high on Carolina and the Panthers. Frank Reich, to me, people have talked about possibly getting one of these kids out of the college ranks. Frank Reich's more of a pocket passing quarterback. Like, his system is geared towards more of a Derek Carr, and that would make sense to me.
Oh, absolutely.
I wouldn't keep Carolina out of the conversation.
Oh, I wouldn't either.
I think the Jets at this meeting this weekend will be telling to see if the Jets kind of show their hand a little bit or not.
And you got to also look at, where are my best chance of making the playoffs are too. Well, do I want to go to the AFC with Allen there and potentially Tua or Mac Jones as well? Or do I want to go to Carolina and battle it out with all the teams that didn't even get to 500 last season?
Right, a better, easier division. But I would even say, look, Aaron Rodgers in the New York market, that would be disastrous. There's two markets.
Could be. Look, I just look at it this way: how was Favre when he went to?
It lasted 1 year.
Right.
And it didn't go well, right? They went 9-7, and the next year they were like, forget it. He's old. He can't do it.
And that's why I say,
Derek Carr makes sense in New York.
It does make sense. I mean, to me, Derek Carr makes sense in several places.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, listen, nobody's going to sit around and wait.
Bay. I like him in Carolina. I like him in New York. I like him in Washington. These places all make sense to me. They all make sense.
Yeah.
Every
Kenny,
one
thanks
of
for
them.
joining. I would say, look, as bad as his record is, so he was in his career, he's 63-79, but 64.6% completion percentage, 222 yards passing, 217 touchdowns, 99 interceptions. 5 different head coaches in like the last 5 years.
And
that's going to affect anybody.
That completion percentage, right? Now, later on, we have a pick and roll. He would actually be number 1 in that category out of all the quarterbacks that we're going to have in that category. And that's saying something.
Yeah. How much is Vegas going to regret this as well? Because we've seen it. New England, obviously, we had the greatest quarterback of all time. But you know how hard it is to replace solid quarterbacks or good quarterbacks in this league. It could sometimes set your franchise back for years.
Right.
And I think they're gambling on this situation.
Yeah, and it's a terrible gamble. And personally, I would not have made that decision. Just based off of the previous season, making it to the playoffs, and then you add pieces.
Yeah,
something's not right there.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense,
and
right? You added Devontae Adams.
To me,
And
McDaniels went in there, guns blazing, and players did not respond very well.
yeah, and it's going to be interesting to see. I can't wait. It's so much fun. So let's continue with this NFL talk and talk about the Arizona Cardinals, who have hired Jonathan Gannon to be their next head coach. He was the defensive coordinator for the Philadelphia Eagles. Do you think this was the right hire for Arizona?
I mean, it can't get worse than what it was last season. To me, Murray and Kingsbury, or whatever his name is, Kingsbury,
Kingsbury, yeah, Kingsbury.
they did not do well together.
They didn't mesh. Yes,
No.
I will agree with you there.
No, it was clear who was running that team.
But here's the situation though. If you're going to build your offense around Kyler Murray, and let's look at the New England Patriots situation. When you put a defensive-minded coach in charge of an offense, what normally happens? It doesn't go so well. And now you've got Kyler Murray, who's supposed to be the guy that you just invested a ton of money in, and you hire a defensive coordinator to be the head coach now to say, is he going to be able to fix the offense in Kyler Murray?
No.
So
No.
I don't like this hire.
This is no. I mean, when it comes down to brass tacks, this is going to be a disaster. This team is going to implode, and they're going to have to go back to the drawing board yet again. And they have gotten nowhere. They have literally gotten nowhere since the quarterback shuffle. When they drafted Kyler Murray after they had just drafted somebody the previous
Josh
year.
Rosen.
Right. And so, look, this is clear that the organization doesn't know what they're doing.
What, they fired Steve Wilkes and then hired, Kingsbury to Kingsbury to be their head coach, Cliff Kingsbury. And so it's just interesting to see. And here again, I go, yeah, maybe he can improve the defense. They were ranked 21st overall. That's great. Yeah. But that's not going to be the base of your team. Your team's based on Kyler Murray. And you're going to get rid of his best weapon in D-Hop. So DeAndre Hopkins probably on the move. And now you bring a defensive coordinator.
Hopefully coming to New England.
We hope. We all hope on that one. Right? But it's just interesting to see how these teams consistently just baffle me when they make these decisions.
Yeah.
And you come back and wonder why they stink for so many years in a row.
Yeah. And, and that's why, we have the same problems with like Cleveland and all those, the same old.
Yeah.
So it's the routine, right? And that's why we mourned the sale of not the sale, but the pending sale of Milwaukee, right? Because
Cleveland,
that team will be a disaster.
Yeah, bad decisions. Speak of another dumpster fire right now, the Indianapolis Colts, they hired Shane Steichen, to be their head coach. Will he be able to bring this Colts franchise back?
Not unless they don't get a quarterback.
So they have the fourth overall pick. And there's a lot of talk that them and the Bears are going to trade so that they could either pick up maybe a Bryce Young, a C.J. Stroud from Ohio State, Alabama, respectively.
What would you do if you were Chicago?
This is a tough call for me because I would almost I've again, one of my buddies, very good, close Carolina Panther. He loves the Panthers. There's a possibility of them trading Justin Fields to Carolina and then picking number 1 overall and getting Bryce Young has been the rumor. And so I if I'm Chicago, honestly, I'd probably hold on to the pick and get an offensive lineman. I know it's not a sexy pick, but you need a guy you can build your offensive line around for the next 10 to 15 years and protect Justin Fields, because I think he's still a comparable quarterback in this league that can make things happen. He doesn't have an offensive line. He has no offensive weapons, and you're going to trade that pick away.
So he was 7th in rushing this past season?
Yeah.
And not just quarterbacks. I mean, that's running backs.
Dude, he's ridiculous. The kid's got legs. He's got wheels. Why not try to build something around him? And he's already established, like, he's played in the league. He knows the speed. He knows, how to win, how to lose in this league. versus a
Yeah,
college kid
I
coming.
was just curious. I think to me, you know what you have in Justin Fields. I don't care what it is. You never know if a quarterback is going to succeed or not. And from what I see, I think Justin Fields will be at least an average to good quarterback,
Yeah.
and the fact that he's mobile will add a dimension to it, and he will be able to win in this league.
Yeah. If I am in Indianapolis right now, I'm telling Chicago, look, keep the 1 pick. I'll give you the 4 pick. Trade me Justin Fields. Because now Justin Fields is very similar to Jalen Hurts in Philly.
Right?
Now he's got a quarterback that he's familiar with, can
Yeah,
run his offense with. That changes the dynamic in Indy.
absolutely.
That's the push I'd make. I wouldn't trade for the 1 pick and get try to pick up one of these college kids who hasn't played in the league yet, and we don't know
Right.
what they're about.
Right.
If the Chicago Bears want to be a train wreck for the rest of their existence, let them be. If they want to trade you the 1 pick, I say keep the 1 pick. Give me Justin Fields. I'll give you the 4. I'll gladly take Justin Fields at number 4. And I know how high you were on him in the draft. You felt he
Yeah.
was the best quarterback coming out of that draft.
Yeah, I did.
So
And frankly, I still do.
yeah,
You know, Lawrence has proved his value to me.
But look at what they did. They put
But
players around him and a good coach.
right,
They
right.
picked up some players and got him a
Right.
good coach.
And I still think Fields is the better quarterback.
Yeah. Get Steichen, get Justin Fields.
It's
Jonathan-
funny how that whole draft of the quarterbacks went, because I felt that Fields was the best quarterback. Okay. But I felt that Mac Jones was a great pick for the Patriots because of the type of
At the
quarterback
spot.
he is.
And at the spot. Yeah. And
at the spot.
It was. Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
and I thought Lance and Wilson were going to be busts. And
Which so far they are.
so far they are. And,
That's what I'm saying,
Lawrence
Chicago.
was just, is he going to be in the right place?
Look,
And
Jalen Hurts wasn't Jalen Hurts till Philadelphia makes that trade, gets AJ Brown.
right.
Now you got two
Right.
solid wide receivers.
Yep.
All of a sudden, it changed the dynamic. Chicago,
Well, that's
get
just
him
it,
a wide
Eric.
receiver, right? Get
You
him a
don't
wide
do
receiver.
that. You don't
not
do
trade
that
him.
in year one. You don't do it in year two, because you have to have the quarterback get prepared. You do it in that third year once you realize, okay, what do we need for that playoff push and potential Super Bowl team, right? So year 3, you've already analyzed the steps, and this is where the Patriots should be right now.
Exactly.
And okay, so we need this on defense. We need this on defense. We need an offensive lineman, and that should shore up everything else. And you make the push.
Yeah.
Oh, let's go out and get AJ Brown, and that'll really do it. And then what happens? They do it,
They get to the Super
and
Bowl,
they get to the Super Bowl.
right?
And that's all you could ask for. If you can get to that Super Bowl, that's what you want. Just get there.
Absolutely. Yeah, agreed. Agreed, my friend. So, if I was going to ask you, Gannon, Steichen, which one do you think is going to be more successful in this endeavor?
Steichen.
Right. And I feel the same way, even though the Colts to me were on the downward spiral. Jim Irsay, their owner, stay out of their business, right? Let them do it. And that's where he'll be successful.
Yeah. I
But-
just think it's set up to fail in Arizona.
Yeah.
No matter what, it didn't matter who's going to be there. It's just set up to fail because the dynamics of that organization is just terrible.
No, I agree with you. So it is on to triple play, my friend. Great NFL talk, but it's triple play time.
Grounded to third. There's one. There's two. There it is. It's a triple play.
It's a triple play, my friend. And this week, we are deciding who will start, bench, and cut from these great running backs, all of which have had the most 200-yard rushing games in NFL history. Believe it or not, they're all tied with 6. So all 3 of these guys have had 6 200-yard rushing games, and they are Derrick Henry, Adrian Peterson, and O.J. Simpson. We are now going to decide who we start, bench, and cut. I am first this week, so I will start us off.
You're first?
Yeah, you're always first on odd shows, even shows. I'm sorry, even. You're
Okay.
always first on even shows. I'm odd shows.
Even better.
Even better. Even. Get it? Even better. All right. So I am starting, as much as I dislike this individual, Adrian Peterson, who rushed 3,230 times for 14,918 yards, a 4.6 yards per carry average. This is the factor that went into my thought process: 120 touchdowns. So when he gets near the goal line, he's scoring touchdowns. Out of these three guys, he has the most. I am benching Derrick Henry, 1,750 yards rushing, 8,333 yards, a 4.8 yards per carry, 78 touchdowns. So again, a little more than the guy that I'm going to let go, because I'm not going to use that word just out of sensitivity, and that would be OJ Simpson, who 2,404 yards rushing attempts, 11,236 yards, 4.7 yards per carry, but only 61 touchdowns in his career. That set me back a little bit. He doesn't get into the end zone. So I went Adrian Peterson starting. I'm benching Derrick Henry, and I'm letting go OJ Simpson.
Okay, so I have a choice between an oft injured player, a child abuser, and a murderer.
Hey, my God.
Is that the sensitivity you were looking at?
I kept it as yes.
So those are my choices, right?
Those, I guess so.
All right. So I am going to start. I told you I was going to, before the show, I said I was going to lose a lot of Christmas cards today.
Yes, I think you have now. I think you've officially done that. Good job.
Yes. So it's official. I've already lost at least 2.
Yes. Yeah.
So I am going to start Derrick Henry because he is probably the better human out of all the 3. And he's got the better yards per carry, 4.8 as opposed to 4.7 for Simpson and 4.6 for Peterson. Not a big difference. He's, injured a lot. So therefore you have to have somebody at least on your bench. So I'm going to make a phone call, and I'm just going to go grab whoever's available on the scrap heap to bring in, because I am cutting both Peterson and OJ Simpson because I really don't want despicable people on my team.
Okay. All right.
Sorry.
All right. And that's our triple play. We're going to move right on this one.
I knew you'd appreciate that one.
I do. Hopefully
But
Kenny's still.
I don't lose anything out of it because none of them have won a championship. So
yeah, that's a good point. And we know how you hold championships so heavily, and when you do a lot of these polls. So.
I'll have to find somebody that's available that wore the number. That had a 200-yard game,
and then just go from there.
And go from there. Right. Hopefully, they had won a championship.
Yeah. That's fair. All right, let's talk some NBA, my friend. Hopefully Kenny is still with us, because I'm sure this individual, as we bring him up, I know Kenny was pretty high on the NBA show, talking about where Kevin Love possibly could go. So the Cleveland Cavaliers and Kevin Love are in discussions for a buyout. Do you think he still has value for a team? Can he be an effective piece?
Can he shoot the 3?
This season, no. 35.4% from three-point range. It's actually one of his lowest, and he's shooting 38.9 from the field. So he's under 40% shooting.
Well,
he is averaging 8.5, 6.8 rebounds, 1.9 assists. So, I mean, I guess off the bench, it wouldn't be bad.
If you need a guy that can fill in, say you have an oft-injured, say, center, say like Robert Williams III, I think it would be worth kicking the tires on. I mean, maybe he just couldn't get into the flow this season in Cleveland for whatever reason. But if they buy him out and, a team in the Eastern Conference wants him, I think it's worth kicking the tires on. I mean, what do you got to lose? I mean,
No.
do you have a spot on your team? You know, even if it's the 14th or 15th guy on your team, those guys never play. So why not bring him in? Maybe he'll contribute. So it's worth kicking the tires on.
I would say this. Look, as a Boston Celtics fan, and he was heavily rumored to go to Boston quite many times.
Right.
This is where I would say, look, Blake Griffin is doing nothing for you anyway in Boston. So why not take a shot on Kevin Love, who at least you know what I mean, can bring a little bit more. I think he's played in 41 games this season, 34 years old, can play both power forward and center. It gives you some, options there, because I'm tired of seeing, and I don't know what's going on with Boston, and all these guys that are getting bought out are talking about going to Phoenix or Dallas, and nobody's talking about Boston. And I don't understand why, because Boston, the number 1 seed in the East, you got 2 young kids that are very talented and are going to play a lot of minutes, so you don't even have to worry about that.
Look, I'd want to go, to try to win a championship. And, going to Dallas, I don't think that does it. I don't think it does it.
It's the law of Kyrie now. Again, here we go. And now Luka. And with Luka.
Right. And, and Phoenix.
He lives on the second floor, by the way.
Like, I like the Phoenix team, and I think they're the favorites. But, yeah, I know.
Okay.
I just ignored it.
All right.
I think they're the favorites in the West, but it is Phoenix after all. It is CP3, and he just does not get to.
You get enough talent around now.
I know.
Durant's gotten there, so Durant knows how to win. So now you added a piece that's won championships.
Yeah.
And everybody's, again, it's that law, but I just don't understand it, because, again, the Boston Celtics were in the finals last year.
Right.
They already a contender to win it again.
Spot, because all they need is somebody to get hot in the playoffs.
But is this a problem with the East being too tough? Because even like a DeMarcus Cousins,
I don't even think the East is too tough.
Milwaukee, you got to worry about Milwaukee
and Philly. That's it.
Okay. That's in the West, it's so wide open though. Who's your favorite in the West?
That's
Denver.
Just it. The West are going to beat each other up. And there's a good chance that they're going to come in flat.
Yeah.
I don't think it's an easier path in the West. I think there's a lot of good teams out there.
Yeah, look, I think there's a lot of possibilities out there. The fact that Boston's not being mentioned with any of these guys is kind of baffling to me.
To be honest with you,
it's baffling.
I don't understand it.
I don't get it. I don't get it. But again, to each their own. Good luck. Boston hopefully gets back to the final.
Being green.
Yeah, it is not. So let's continue this NBA talk and talk about it's the halfway point. I know you're so excited about watching all the festivities this weekend. I know how big the All-Star game is for you, and the dunk contest and everything else. So
I don't watch All-Star games.
But let's talk about MVP candidates here. And there's been a bunch of names mentioned. I have 5 myself. Scal's back in it, baby. But I'm curious to think of how I'm going to mention some names, and then maybe possibly you tell me if there's another guy out there. But we'll start off right away with the Joker, Nikolai Jokic.
Yeah, he's one of the candidates.
24.7 points, 11.5 rebounds, 10.1 assists right now.
When you're averaging a triple-double, there's always a possibility you win it, right? But and they're in first place.
Yeah, but do you think he gets, a little bit of a negative because he's already won 2 in a row and they don't want to give it to him 3 times?
A little bit, but I think right now he is one of the top 3 candidates.
Joel Embiid.
33.1,
10.2 rebounds, 4.1 assists.
I don't think he wins it, but I think he's a candidate.
Jason Tatum.
I don't think he wins it, but I think he's a candidate.
So again, best record in the NBA, not getting any respect, right? Giannis Antetokounmpo.
That's who I think is going to win it.
32.5 points, 12.3 rebounds, 5.5 assists right now. Luka Doncic has been mentioned as well.
Yeah.
Just the record, 31 and 29.
Yeah.
Barely over 500. I as great as he is, I couldn't give him an MVP based on that.
No.
If they stay around that, hover around that 500, I think they're the 6th seed in the West. I'm not.
Yeah, if they stay a 6th seed in the West, that's a failure.
Especially
Simple
after
as
picking
that.
up Kyrie, right?
Yeah, it's a failure.
And you don't think Jokic gets a little bit of the shaft just based on the fact that he's won 2 in a row? Nobody's ever won 3 in a row.
I think
Nobody's
Giannis
won
is
3 in a
gonna.
row.
Yeah, I know. I think Giannis is going to get the MVP.
You're going Giannis.
I'm going Giannis.
You're going Giannis.
I just think he's just so clearly the most important piece in that, in that team.
He pretty much carried them, right?
Yeah, he is.
No Middleton.
Them.
No Middleton
he's the guy.
for a while, and
because like if Tatum doesn't have it, then you got Jaylen Brown, okay, and he can put up the points just as well as Tatum can. Tatum's obviously having a great year, but he does have Jaylen Brown there, and I don't know, and I think like the Joker is. He's great. He's great. He's making us wonder if he is the best player in the league, right? I mean,
Agreed. Yeah,
that's the talk now, right? And Embiid, I just think that the 76ers just
they don't get any love. Philly's not going to get love. Yeah.
Yeah,
it's the city of brotherly love, and there's no love for the.
There isn't, and it's like they just don't have enough. I think. I just don't think they have enough to keep winning as much as they are, and unfortunately, I think it's a 2-horse race in the East. I don't think anybody else stands a chance in that.
Yeah. Look, I think it's going to be hard to decide who's going to be MVP, and I think whoever gets it, there's going to be some disagreements on why.
Yeah.
Because I think all these guys are really close.
Because when you think about it like this why Joker could actually end up winning this. Because everybody's like the people that aren't going to vote for Joker are going to say, well, I want to vote for somebody else because he's just won it twice. So I'm going to vote for Giannis. And then the other people are saying, well, I'm going to vote for Embiid. And then, half the people are still going to vote for Joker and he's going to win it again.
Yeah. Listen, it'd be amazing to see a 3-time MVP, 3 straight.
It's hard to believe Jordan wasn't.
Yeah. So it's Major League Baseball time, and it's already pitches and catches have reported. So excited about baseball kicking off. Spring's around the corner, but we're going to bring.
I love my San Diego Padres.
Yes, we're going to bring up this gentleman here.
How's your Boston Red Sox?
There is a lot of speculation that Steven Strasburg had a setback and may not be ready to start the season. Do you think his career is over? Our producer will bring him up in a minute.
Yeah, maybe the producer will.
I think he's sleeping, my producer.
He might
today.
be.
So, again, this guy came in with such high aspirations, and to me, it's been a failure. Yes, they won a championship, and he was a part of that. But if you look at the fact that he's in the last 3 years or 3 seasons, since 2019, when he pitched his most innings at 209, and he went 18-6, 3.32 ERA. In 2020, he was 0-1 with a 10.80 ERA, 5 innings pitched. 2021, 1-2, a 4.57 ERA, pitched in 21.2 innings. And then last season, 0-1, 13.50 ERA, 4.2 innings pitched. So if you add them all together, he's pitched basically 30 innings in the last 3 years. Is his career over, Ron? Is this even a factor now?
No, I think his only chance now is to go into the bullpen. That's
right?
his.
I think you're right on. You're spot on with that one, Ron. Right? I didn't even think about it. Put him in the bullpen.
Yeah,
that's 30 innings.
If you're gonna get 4 innings out of him in a season, you can actually get 4 appearances.
It's bad, but you feel like at some point, like
you have to.
Here's the problem with Major League Baseball, though. This is that guaranteed contracts. This guy's going to be sitting on the bench making millions. I don't even know what his
Well, he can
contract's
hang
worth.
out with Bonilla, and those
But
guys.
it's just a shame because he was considered to be probably the next Roger Clemens,
Yeah, okay.
and he just can't stay healthy. He
Well,
cannot
see,
stay healthy.
that's the problem. He didn't use the roids.
Yeah, see, thank you. So you put him in the Hall of Fame before you put Roger Clemens. That's your problem.
Well, first of all, I wouldn't put Strasburg in the Hall of Fame.
That's your problem.
Unless it's for injuries.
Yeah. So I'm going to ask you this question. I know I didn't give you this topic, but I'm just curious. Manny Machado. I don't know if you heard about this story. He is giving up his contract after this season. He's voiding it because the market, he said, has changed. Do you agree with that move? I think he said it was like a 10-year, $300 million deal. Like he's getting like $30 million a year.
Yeah, he wants 35.
Is that not out of control? What are these guys thinking?
It's just stupid. Like, do you need more than 300 million? I mean, what are you trying to do? Like, are you trying to, like, okay, if you give up your contract, that means you're going to leave San Diego? Because they're not going to re-sign you.
I would listen. I'd put him on the trade block. Why not? At this point, I just don't understand it. Like with all that talent they got in San Diego, and you already got a fat contract. Like your contract's loaded.
I don't get it. Do you need more than 300 million to survive?
I don't get it.
I mean, like really?
I don't understand it, my friend. I don't get it. It's just greed.
I hope it backfires on him. I really do.
Pure greed. It is face-off time.
We talk about it all the time, Rick. A clean face-off win.
Do we talk about it all the time?
We talk about it all the time. A clean face-off win. We've got a new segment coming, though. May replace the face-off, so we're kind of excited about that. Tune in next week for the revealing of the next big thing in Sports Unfolded. Be ready.
Field television.
You remember Field television was one of the best, my friend. Nobody's ever done it since.
Nope.
We are an original.
That's right.
So our face-off question tonight is, do you think the XFL or USFL can ever be a successful league? Will they be able to compete with the NFL? I am first this week, so I will start us off. And I will say this, Ron. I think one of them can be. I really, truly do. I think the key factors are going to be, though, can they get players that people are really interested in watching and seeing and not the scrap heap off of the NFL? And I'm not saying these guys aren't talented. They're not athletes, because they are. But if you can't make it in the best league in the world, who wants to see the second best? It doesn't work that way. They really got to try to get some kind of talent, like some of these top guys from college, to say, look, if they offer more money, maybe a better contract, maybe they change the guarantees, like the NFL has a guarantee for rookies. Maybe it's a little more than that. That's what's going to be successful. So they need investors to be able to put money in so that they could get top guys that people want to watch. Let's just say, and I'm just using this as the example, if Bryce Young was able to make the same amount of money for one of these XFL teams or USFL teams, you'd be more inclined to tune in to watch to see how he performed versus the guy that's coming out of Mississippi, Ohio Valley, whatever college, and that nobody's ever heard of. And that's what these are doing right now. They're producing guys that really nobody even knows their name, know who they are. That I think they can survive, but they're going to have to change how they get players or what they do to get players, because they need to get guys that we're going to be interested in. We're going to be talking in April about the NFL draft and in that first round and how important, right? And we'll have our draft watch party again and we'll do all that stuff. They need to be able to get one of those type of guys that people want to watch and tune in for. That's why I think it could be. And I think I'm on the fence. I'm not really saying it will be. I think I kind of stayed middle of the ground there, but I think it can be successful.
Okay, so you say they need investors. Okay, well, how much bigger of an investor is Dwayne Johnson? Deion Sanders. Like, these guys are huge. They got tons of money. They got money coming out of every orifice.
But they're not NFL wealthy. They're not billions. They're not making billions, and that's a difference maker. The
But
NFL
I mean,
can pay these
that's
kids
just
more.
unrealistic.
Yeah, and I'm not saying, but they've got to be able to have some kind of
But they
structure.
do have some money, behind this. It's not
Yeah.
like it's poor.
The XFL, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when you put that in perspective, I mean, how successful is it going to be? Like this is what you like. Do you think major indoor lacrosse is making money? Well, they got to be making something because they're still functioning, right? So it's just
They're
a
on
matter
Sports
of.
Unfolded budget.
Well, I'm just saying,
They're on our
it's
budget.
like they can still make it if they know what they're using their money on, spendages and
Yeah.
and what their investments are, so they can make it because the CFL has been functioning for many years.
I don't even think the CFL's around anymore now.
Well,
I think
don't contradict my point.
Okay, because I think they defuncted. But go ahead.
But anyway, if they did, then so be it. Then that just proves my point
That they can't make it?
that they can't make it.
Exactly.
The only way they can make it work, the only way, is if it is the minor leagues for the NFL.
And the NFL gives them money, which the XFL is getting money from the NFL.
This is what I'm saying. So if they are the minor leagues, so teams draft players, they go into this league, and let's see what we got, on these young guys. Obviously, those first round picks, you want to give them shots, but this puts players still with a job that work for the NFL, but they are now in the minors. This is no different than baseball and the NHL, and that's what they need to do.
A guy I know we just talked about who, listen, get an Adrian Peterson, a guy, somebody that, again, you know what I mean? They need to get a name in there that you want to watch, that you go, oh, let me just see if Adrian Peterson still got it. Can he beat these guys? He's not in the league.
I thought he said something else instead of
like
orgs.
Other orgs, kind of. Yeah. Yeah. Like UFC. Like
no,
PFL,
look,
Abs,
I mean,
Bellator, they are divisionally, yeah, the same. Yeah, very good. Very good point.
It's the amazing pants.
Hey, and he's right though, and you're right. They can be successful, but I also think you need names. Like a lot of times, these guys that come in, even on those minor leagues, if we want to call them minor leagues,
yeah,
you kind of know their name, you know who they are and how they got there, and then you're saying, okay, they built it up. It's same thing with the minor league baseball. Like you hear about a kid.
I think it has to go through the NFL, though. I think that's the only way it succeeds. They've got to be NFL.
Yeah, caliber players, like guys that you want to watch.
Yeah,
because again, I have no interest in knowing who the fifth string guy was on Mississippi State wide receiver, because it's something, unless I'm a Mississippi State, and I keep using Mississippi, but anywhere, Oregon, Stanford, one of these guys, and you go, oh, I knew that kid in college. You are right. But I love that kid in college. He was great. Let me see how he performs. You don't really pay attention to him. XFL will be great. That's Kenny's a wrestling fan though.
No,
Bellator has plenty of names. See, yeah, Bellator to Amazing Pants point, Bellator has some names. So from the USC, older guys, get some of those players in there.
Yeah.
That have maybe kind of past their prime in the NFL, but you still want to watch to see if they still have it.
Right. Like a Terrell Owens.
Yeah, Terrell Owens wanted to come back, right? Bring up. I would, one of these teams. Why not?
I know. You'd be a fool not to.
Right? Why not?
That would put butts in the stands.
Right. Those are the things they need to do, because now you have an interest to want to watch it.
Yeah.
To want it. Ratings matter. People watching matters. Right? You're streaming it on these platforms. You're on ESPN, ABC, NBC. You're on all these platforms.
Exactly.
And I still don't want to watch it.
We don't want to see Wilson retire from football now that he got cut, or about to get cut from the Jets, say. Why not go to the XFL, right?
Exactly. Get a Zach Wilson, because then you go, can he reinvigorate his career and
Yeah.
prove, right? Like, wow, look at how great he's done in the XFL or the USFL. Now all of a sudden
And
you want to
and
watch it.
and maybe they can still do the nicknames on the back, and
He
he
hate
can
me.
put no, they cut me.
They cut me. Yeah. No. It'd be I love your mom. You know what I mean? Come on, that's his
Hey,
thing, bro.
they have some big name coaches though.
You heard even that Stifler's mom was they were like a whole thing. They said they were going to try to do it.
Well, they had like Wade Phillips is a coach.
Yeah, they got a lot of coaches that have coached in the
Yeah.
NFL. Get some players.
What's the dude's name? Stoops?
Well, Bob Stoops was the Oklahoma coach. Yeah. No, I mean they got some guys. I think there is room for something more. Yeah, absolutely. Listen, we love football. Physical too. Let's see. Yeah, XFL. Do they let them hit more?
Yeah,
Do they take away the
are they
rules?
not going to be pansies?
You know what I mean? And again, do they get criticized for that? But that might make you want to watch it.
Yeah, no.
They've
Look,
got to change something. I think
I'm
both
gonna be
leagues can
watching.
survive. I'd want to see it. Like this Saturday, the XFL kicks off. I want to watch to see what happens.
Yeah, I'm going
I
to
want to
watch
see
some
what it
games
looks like.
tomorrow.
What's that product look like? So it'll be pretty interesting. Amazing. Thanks for all the great comments. Thank you for joining us as well, Kenny.
That's Nick, by the way.
Oh, nice. Okay, Nick. Awesome. All right, my friend. We are on to some NHL talk. And Alex Ovechkin, he's going to miss some time with the Washington Capitals due to his father's passing. We do wish our condolences to him and his family.
Yes.
But we're going to talk about the sports side of it. We're going to bring Ovechkin up. But how will this affect the Capitals' playoff chances with him being out? They're talking maybe a week, not more than that. But they're in the thralls of a playoff race now.
They'll get through it. I mean, hopefully, it depends on their schedule, of course.
Which I have. The next 3 games he's probably going to miss: Florida, Carolina, and Detroit.
Yeah, that's not good timing.
Yeah, because Florida and Detroit are basically
trying to catch them
a point away, 2 points away.
Yeah, and Carolina is leading,
Yes.
the division, and you can't afford losing those games.
Yeah,
but I mean, if he only misses those 3 games, it's not so bad. Then he comes back all fired up, right? I would expect that.
Unless his mental state, you know what I mean? We don't know what that.
I mean, we don't know what that's going to be like, but knowing the competitor that Alex Ovechkin is, I think he comes back fired up and he dedicates the season to his dad, and that'll get him motivated more than anything. That is going to be a man on a mission, I think.
Yeah. So we, and as you talk me, chances they go 0-3 without him. I mean, very possibly.
Yeah.
Very possibly. Listen, you're going to miss. You're obviously your leader in points and goals.
Yep.
Time on ice, he's 4th on this team, but the other 5 guys that are in that mix, the top 5 are all defensemen. So he is your top skater.
Yeah.
For the most part, number 1 in power play goals.
Yeah.
With 10, and number 1 in shots taken on this team at 227. I don't think anybody's even 100 shots close to him. So that's a lot of production. And to your point, Ron, this is, again, 62 points right now.
Yeah.
Florida 60 points.
Look,
Detroit,
it wouldn't
58.
surprise me if they get shut out 3 times, right?
Yeah. And don't forget, the Islanders are a point behind them.
I know they are.
For the 8th
I know they are.
And they just got Horvat, right? Horvat, and that trade and how big that can be for them. The stat line sounds right. It is. It's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous.
He is their team. Ovechkin is their team.
Yeah.
And now you pluck him out for a week, for obviously reasons that are important.
Yeah.
But the timing of it couldn't have been worse for them.
No,
it really couldn't, because these are some of the playoff teams that are chasing
deaths
them.
in the family and not.
Yeah, you can't predict them. Yes, unfortunately. Right. And again, if it was an injury, we'd be sitting back and saying, okay.
And like I said, it's a setback for the team, but 3 games aren't going to be their season. It's going to be, what this team is going to do from when he comes back to the end of the season. So, are they even going to be in the mix for for the next 2 weeks to get another piece. This is the question, because when you hear rumors around the league, there aren't many rumors that involve Washington right now, and so that just leads me to believe that they're going to do something small. There isn't anything big in
Yeah.
their future. That's what I'm guessing.
What might ultimately decide their season anyway.
Yeah. I mean, if they don't go out and get a piece, they're going to be left in the dust because, you know, Islanders already did, and look at the moves they're doing.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
climbing, and the Rangers already did their move, and the Rangers I don't think are done yet, to be honest with you. And when you look at those big name players out there, a lot of them are rumored to go certain places, and I don't see a whole lot of Washington around in any of those
Yeah.
names.
Yeah.
You
No.
know,
And Nick, you brought up a great point, right? What Ron's saying is how they come back could very well be the difference. Does Ovechkin come back and have that
Yeah.
mentality to say, "Look, I gotta be the best possible player now because my
Yeah.
team needs me." So
Yep.
yeah, that's what champions do. We'll see. I mean, he is a champion, one of the greatest goal scorers of all time. Right, he's number 2
Absolutely.
all time. Let's see what happens. Again, we do give our condolences though. It's tough at any point for anybody to go through. And I'm sure, you know what I mean? The team understands why he's doing it and makes sense. So
Yeah,
maybe they rally. Sometimes that helps the team too. They
it does.
rally.
Like I said, I think with Ovechkin, I think he'll come back on a mission, and,
Yeah.
and I think that will spill over into the rest of the team. But again, if they don't go out and get a piece or two, then they're going to get left behind no matter what.
Yeah.
I mean, when you're seeing Timo Meyer and the rumors going around, it looks like New Jersey, Vegas, Carolina, and Toronto, and Kane, it's looking more like Toronto or the Rangers. So they're getting left out of these big pieces. Chikrin, again, he could be on the move to, like Toronto or something, and there's just so many guys that
I heard Chikrin possibly Boston as well.
no, that won't happen.
Okay. I just
They're not
read
going
it was
to.
it's
The Boston Bruins are looking into Luke Shen. They want a big bruiser kind of guy.
okay.
So if they make a trade, I wouldn't be surprised if you see Brandon Carlo move on. Just keep
All
that
right.
one in mind.
Keep that one in mind. So let's talk one more story about the LA Kings. They've signed Mikey Anderson to an 8-year, $33 million deal. Thoughts on the signing? Do you like this signing for the Kings?
Well, this is going to bring his average out to, I believe, 4.1.
4.1 million. Yes, very good.
Now, at first glance, when you look at his numbers, you're like, oh,
They're okay, but he is their best defenseman,
right.
and he's
So,
23 years old.
and then I kind of said, 4.1 million sounds awful familiar to me. It's like, who's making 4.1 million on the Bruins? And that is who I just mentioned, Brandon Carlo, making 4.1 million for the next 4 years. Right? And I'm like, well, let's see the stats. So Brandon Carlo, through 3 seasons, had 32 points, and he was a plus 41. Anderson, through 3 seasons, has 32 points. 23, 24, 32 points, and is a plus 24. So almost identical. And he just got that 4.1 million.
So that's kind of the market.
So I thought it was a bad deal at first. I'm like, wow, that just seems kind of high for somebody that only gets like 12, 13 points in a season. And then I looked at all the numbers, and then I looked at what Brandon Carlo is, and I'm like, well, they think that he's Brandon Carlo as well and could do more in points. Bruins, however, did not get more in points, from Brandon Carlo, but he is a very good defenseman.
Do you know Carlo's
And
age by any chance?
I believe he's
Now
27 or so.
so a little younger.
So
as
yeah,
well.
he's
Yeah,
younger. But again, Carlos signed the contract a couple of years ago. So
yeah.
I mean, this is why I say, maybe Brandon Carlo is the guy to go. If you get Luke Shen, who's going to do basically the same job as Carlo, maybe Carlo is the chip that they send in a package to get a forward
Okay.
rather
Let's
than
see.
giving up their future. Down in the minors, say Lysell, or Beecher,
Yeah.
some of those guys. So I mean, that could be the guy. I mean, I would think that would be who I would send out. If you need to fit somebody in the cap, you got to send somebody else out that can
Yeah.
put that cap space. I know they want to do Craig Smith, but it doesn't always work out that way.
No. Ron, it's pick and roll time.
Pick and roll.
And we are on episode 7, which means we have to do something about 7. So we picked 7 quarterbacks who have worn the number 7 in their career. And those quarterbacks are John Elway, Michael Vick, Ben Roethlisberger, Joe Theismann, Randall Cunningham, Boomer Esiason, and Doug Flutie. And we're going to rank them from 7 to 1. Again, I am first this week, so I will give us the correct list, and then Ron will fill you in with a bunch of garbage. At number 7.
If they all believe that, they wouldn't be here.
Yes, they would be, because they want to hear my greatness.
No, they don't want to
bring
hear
to the
your
table.
picks because you're just wrong all the time.
What
and
I
they
bring
know
to the
it.
table, my friend. So at number 7,
Yeah, big pile of poop.
hey, at number 7, Flutie Flakes, Doug Flutie, 38-28 in his career, 54.7% completion percentage, 14,715 yards, 86 touchdowns, 68 interceptions. He did rush for 1,634 yards in his career and 10 touchdowns. Only a one-time Pro Bowler, and he was comeback player of the year. But he did miss multiple years of his time in between with the USFL and CFL. I had to give him a knock for that. So he didn't play consistently through his entire career. And I think he only wore 7 in Buffalo. Maybe, right? Yeah, maybe Buffalo. Maybe no. I think San Diego Chargers as well.
Wait, before you go any further, does it even matter what he wore? Doesn't matter.
Number 7. At Eric got it wrong already. Kenny is such a homer. Can I please, for the love of everything that
this is what I'm telling you.
He's
you're
a
always
homer.
wrong. It
Doug
doesn't
Flutie
matter.
stinks. His numbers stink. But anyway, okay, I regress. I'm going back. At 6, Boomer Esiason. Only quarterback on this list that had a losing record, 80-93 in his career, 57% completion percentage, 37,920 yards passing, 247 touchdowns, 184 interceptions. He rushed for 1,598 yards and 7 touchdowns. 4-time Pro Bowler, 1-time All-Pro, MVP, and Offensive Player of the Year once in his career, which I think everybody kind of gets some kind of MVP back in the 80s, because it looked like everybody I checked had an MVP. At number 5, Joe Theismann, 77-47, 56.7% completion percentage. You're going to leave that up the whole segment. I know you already. 25,206 yards, 160 touchdowns, 138 interceptions. He rushed for 1,815 yards and 17 touchdowns. Only 2 Pro Bowls, 1 All-Pro, and MVP, a notch above Boomer because he won a championship. At number 4, one of the most dynamic running backs that was a quarterback, Michael Vick, 61-51, 56.2% completion percentage, 22,464 yards passing, 133 touchdowns, 88 interceptions, 6,109 yards rushing, 36 touchdowns, 4 Pro Bowls, and comeback player of the year. At 3, one of the ultimate running back quarterbacks as well, Randall Cunningham, 82-52-1, 56.6% completion percentage, 29,979 yards, 207 touchdowns, 134 interceptions. He rushed for 4,928 yards and 35 touchdowns, 4 Pro Bowls and 1 All-Pro, 2-time MVP, Offensive Player of the Year, and a Comeback Player of the Year. At number 2, John Elway, 148-82 and won, 56.9% completion percentage, 51,475 yards passing, 300 touchdowns, 226 interceptions, rushed for 3,407 yards, 33 touchdowns, 9-time Pro Bowler, 2-time Offensive Player of the Year, won an MVP. He's a 2-time champion. But at number one, great, phenomenal numbers. Ben Roethlisberger, 165, 81 and 1, 64.4% completion percentage, best out of this group by far, not even close. 64,088 yards passing, 418 touchdown passes, 211 interceptions, rushed for 1,373 yards and 20 touchdowns. 6-time Pro Bowler, was a Rookie of the Year and a 2-time champion. Ben Roethlisberger, the best number 7 quarterback on this list. And I am correct. If you have Flutie anywhere but 7, there's something wrong with you.
All right,
Go
number
ahead.
7, I have Doug Flutie.
Thank you. Kenny, go ahead.
stuck.
Chime in.
He's stumped.
Chime in, Ken.
He's stumped.
Chime in, Kenny. He's wrong already. I don't hear. See,
Doug
Kenny.
Flutie was number 7.
He's a homer and he's a
Um,
Ron favorite. He loves Ron. He loves you, bro.
Yeah, because I'm right all the time.
Ah, you're right all the time. If I'm wrong with Flutie at 7, you're wrong with Flutie at 7. I don't see him chiming in, but go ahead.
Because now he understands. because
Yeah, no,
I
he
just said
understands.
it.
Yeah, okay, all right. Yes,
Exactly.
exactly.
I don't even know how he was in the NFL, to be honest with you. I really don't. I think he stunk.
Ah, and
He
no
made
Christmas
a
cards from Doug
career-
Flutie now.
Look, he made a career out of one pass. Literally made a career out of one
Boston
pass.
College.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And Boston College stuck. Number 6, Boomer Esiason. If it wasn't for Doug Flutie, he would have been last.
Right? He had a losing
A
record.
losing record, but again, he played for the Bungles.
Yeah.
And they didn't give him any help, really.
Did get to a Super Bowl, though.
Yeah. They gave him 1 year. That's it. The rest of the time stunk. So number 6, you got number 5 wrong. It is
Okay.
Nacho Theismann.
Okay.
That is Michael Vick. I don't care what he rushed. He was a running back.
He changed the position.
He did not change
Thank
the
you.
position.
Yes, he
He
did.
didn't change the position. No, he didn't.
Okay.
He didn't.
Okay. Look at the league now.
The other guy in this list is the one that changed the position.
Michael Vick changed it, but go ahead.
No, Michael Vick, all he did, 61 and 51. I mean, come on, that's barely over 500.
He missed a little bit of time. He had an incident.
He missed time because he did time. There's a difference. He
Time
didn't miss
after
time
time.
because of injury.
All right,
He
Cindy
missed
Lauper.
time because he had to do time.
Cindy Lauper
And
over here.
frankly, 10 games over 500 is not that good because that was because of the comeback year.
And yet, Culture Club, give me time. Here we are again. We're back to Culture Club this week.
He also was only 56.2%, not so good. Not even Boomer Esiason had more than that for a completion rate.
Ron is so disrespectful. There we go. Thank you, Kenny. Finally, Michael Vick, dynamic.
No,
Well, go ahead.
not dynamic. 4 Pro Bowls and nothing else along for accolades.
Okay.
Like, look, he was overrated. He was overrated. I'm sorry, he's overrated.
Fastest quarterback in Madden history.
I don't care if he's the fastest in Madden history. It doesn't matter in
That
the
counts.
NFL. He won nothing and barely over 500. For that matter, Doug Flutie was more over 500.
They were both 10 games over 500. They were both 10 games over 500.
I'm just saying.
It's the same thing, but go ahead.
It
So,
is the
go
same
ahead.
thing.
I can't
So
wait.
they should be tied at the bottom.
Who's 4? Now you're going to put Michael Vick at 6. Now you're out of control.
Joe Theismann, number 4.
So you flip-flopped them. Okay.
I mean, he was 30 games over 500, 160 touchdowns, 138 interceptions. I don't find that particularly great either. Personally, I wouldn't want this bottom part of the quarterbacks on my team. The only thing that
So high
that
class.
gives Theismann at number 4 is that he actually won a
Won
championship.
I can see. I give up. Go ahead. Go ahead. So Theismann at 4. So 3, 2, 1. Let's see how you
So
finish.
number 3 is where they start being good.
Okay.
And I loved Randall Cunningham as a quarterback. 82, 52, and 1 in his career. You know, I mean, he was awesome. 207 touchdowns. You know, he slung that ball and he could move. You know, he could do it all. Um, you know, I wish he would have had a lot more teams. You know that
He had one of the
really
best
had.
defenses of all time, though, which was
Yes,
a
yeah, I
shame.
know,
Yeah.
I know. And if they would have given him some pieces on the offense, you know, that could have been lots of championships. So, unfortunately, he didn't win any. But he did go to a Pro Bowl and he won 2 MVPs. Of course, they were like all these different kinds of things.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
So, you know, but I looked at the years, some of them matched up, and I like, okay, so that's 1 MVP. Simi is 2 different things, and then another MVP. So,
Yeah.
So he was number 3, and number 2, John Elway. Always been one of my favorites, and you know, then I looked. I
Time
looked
out.
at the
Time out.
numbers.
Can I time out for a second? Can you at least put Ron so disrespectful LOL on there before you continue? Because we literally had the same list other than two spots. You make it seem.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
Nobody wants
you-
to see that.
No, yeah, okay, all right.
I can't. It won't let me go down
frozen.
there.
Oh, poor
It
thing.
is.
All right.
It
okay.
literally is.
All
There
right.
we go.
All
All
right.
right. There it is.
All right. Thank you.
There you go.
Okay. All right.
You happy now?
John Elway at 2.
Are you happy now?
I am very happy. Thank you.
Okay.
And Ben Roethlisberger, your number 1 is what I'm getting.
Yeah. So no, but I wasn't finished with John Elway.
Oh, okay. All right.
You know, I was actually surprised that, you know, not so much of the touchdowns, but he had 226 interceptions.
Oh, he slung
You
it.
know,
He was a
that was up
gunslinger.
there. That was up there.
He was
You
a
know,
gunslinger.
but you know, 9-time Pro Bowler, 2-time champion with an MVP and a Super Bowl MVP. That ain't so bad. You know, you had to be, you
But
know,
see-
in the top 2 with that.
Can I say I knocked him a little bit with the championships because Terrell Davis won those championships.
Well, yeah.
right?
Oh, I'm
Because
not
he couldn't
doubting
do
that.
it. He couldn't do it before Terrell Davis. Like it was a
Oh, I
running
know.
game.
Terrell
at that point.
Davis was awesome.
Yeah, he didn't win those.
That
Super Bowls,
dude,
but,
he could run. That's who I would pull off the scrap heap to back up Henry.
bring him to the XFL. Let's see if he still got it. Go ahead.
Yeah. Number 1 was Ben Roethlisberger. It really wasn't even a hard decision.
Yeah, dude, his numbers are ridiculous.
It was closer with 2 through 4 than it was 1 and 2.
Yeah.
I mean, all of the numbers. All of the numbers. He had 1 less loss and 22 more wins.
Yep.
Nope, not 22. I can't read my rating.
17.
17.
17 more wins.
17 more wins. His completion percentage was the best out of the list, and it wasn't close. The only one in the 60s. That's why I said Derek Carr would have been closer to number 1 than the others.
418 touchdowns.
418
Ridiculous.
touchdowns, 211. So I mean, 207 more. That is incredible. Incredible numbers for Ben. 6-time Pro Bowler, 2-time champion. I mean, this guy, he did it all. He did it all.
And listen, as Patriot fans, we didn't like him. But
No,
when you look at the numbers, you clearly look at the numbers. He was a great quarterback. He really was.
Yeah.
And you think about a guy that played injured and would come out. Like I think
and how many
broke his
times
foot
did
or
they like
something,
take
and
players away from the team?
yeah, and he's still
You know, they
succeeded
wouldn't
every year.
re-sign anybody. It was like it was ridiculous.
They succeeded every year. Great pick and roll. I'm glad we were both about the same. Not bad.
Yeah, we just had
4-5.
one different.
4-5.
Yeah.
It is prediction time, and you've gained a game again. So you're 3 games up, my friend, on the list. Kenny, if you're still with us, make sure you give your predictions this week.
Oh,
Let's
he's
get those
still
numbers
with us.
back up. So if we'll bring up that list real quick before we start. And as you can see, I went 4-4. Ron 5-3. Manny 5-2.
Still 66%.
Oh, Kenny's ready. 66. Yes, you're still doing it. Doing a great job. All right. So, February 23rd, I got Memphis Grizzlies at the Philadelphia 76ers. I'm going Grizzlies here. Sixes. I think Embiid might be out when he gets back from the All-Star game. He might not even play the All-Star game.
Okay.
Your prediction? I went Memphis.
Yeah, I'm going Memphis. I like Memphis better. I think they're a better team. I mean, it's just. I think they're just more balanced. I think if you can stop Embiid, it's done. It's done.
February
Or contain
23rd. Yeah. Denver Nuggets at the Cleveland Cavaliers.
I like I like Denver in this too.
Okay. I went Cleveland. They're better at home.
Yeah, but
Cleveland plays better at home, but yeah. Kenny, just chime in when you can. Cavs. All right. You got February 18th. We got the Tampa Bay Lightning at the Vegas Golden Knights. I went Tampa Bay. I don't believe in the Western Conference teams against these Eastern Conference teams.
No, I don't either, and I went Lightning as well.
All right. February 19th, you got the Winnipeg Jets at the New Jersey Devils.
I'm going to take the Devils on that one. It's the Devils over the Jets. There's no need to.
Yeah, I went the Devils as well. Agreed. February 23rd, Boston Bruins at the Seattle Kraken. Same scenario. I'm going again East versus West. I'm going Boston.
Yeah, I mean they're gonna be up for this game after losing to them at home. So they're gonna be going in there, and I think the right is on.
Kenny and the Jets. Oh, so
Kenny and the Jets.
Okay, we both agreed on that. Boston as well, Kenny. XFL kickoff. Vegas Vipers at the Arlington Renegades.
I'm going to go Arlington. I'm going to go the home team. The Renegades are gonna be all over the Vipers.
All right. I went Vipers. I just thought it was a cool name. Vegas Vipers. I liked it. I went Vipers. I don't know anybody who's playing in either one of these teams, so we'll go.
Did you do your homework?
I didn't do my homework on that one.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. February 12th. Vipers as well, Kenny. That's a share loss for me. All right. February 12th. Daytona 500. We need a top driver. You're up.
I'm going Kyle Busch.
Kyle Busch. All right. I went Bubba Wallace. Bubba Wallace. I'm going to little Bubba Wallace.
I gotta go back and get Bubba.
They're going to build a shrimp boat, everything. It's going to be amazing.
Absolutely.
So, Ron, before we go to our final thoughts, can you just give the fans out there how they can support the show and sponsor it if they'd like to?
I sure can, Eric. It's so easy. It costs less than a dozen of eggs in Massachusetts. I know this because it's like $8 for a dozen. All you have to do is send us an email, as soon as I can find the email, at ribroadcasting.media@gmail.com. We can send you the information. It's so simple. Look, you want to be able to sponsor this show because you get thousands of eyes on it. It goes through all of our social media, and when you put all that together, we have over 12,000 eyes on our social media. Actually, it'd be 24,000 eyes.
Yeah,
because there's two eyes.
Unless they have one eye.
Unless they have one eye, but I'd say at least 20,000 eyes.
All right, we'll go with that. And if you want to follow us all our social medias, that ticker that's been running, check that out as well. Sports Unfolded, so many different ways to watch, follow us, like us, share the show. We appreciate any shares you can give. Those who have watched live tonight, you guys have been amazing. Kenny, Nick, thank you for joining us tonight live. It is final thought time, and I will give you my final thought. I only got one today, so I made it easy for you. I know, that's a shocker. I could have had more, but I gave you one. And my final thought is on Michael Jordan, who turned 60 years old this past week. What a great job, though. For his birthday, he donated $10 million to the Make-A-Wish Foundation. And he's basically telling everyone to say, look, he hopes others do the same. So I thought that was a great gesture by Michael Jordan. What a way to celebrate your birthday by giving back to others. Phenomenal job. We can criticize him all we want about some of the ways people say he's been. That to me shows great character. What a great job by Michael Jordan.
Okay, so my final thought. You forgot a very special birthday as well. I mean, come on, how can you forget Jim Brown?
Jim Brown. Oh,
same day as Michael Jordan.
Wow.
I mean, what a day this is in history, right?
Yeah.
You know, when you have those two
time,
caliber,
right? Yeah. Yes.
Whew. You know, I mean, you're talking some stats right
Yeah,
there.
absolutely.
So happy birthday to both of them.
Yeah.
You know, and hey, look, there's no more football except, you know, off-season stuff, trades, transactions, and stuff like that. But look, let's everybody out there give the XFL a shot. Check out the games, then join us here next Friday, and let's talk about those games.
Yeah.
And, you know, let's see what you bring to the table. Let's
All
see
right.
what you bring
Love
to
it.
the table.
I love it. So join us live Friday nights, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, only on Rhode Island Broadcasters, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and Facebook. We will see you next Friday, Ron. You take care. Everybody that joined us live, excellent job. Everyone that's joining us afterwards, just continue to follow us, share our show. We appreciate everybody out there and all our fans. And all we ever ask for every single week is peace on earth.
Have a great night, everybody.